Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Purified Drinking Water. Take a sip. Today is a good day. Yes, yes, yes. We're going to be going uncut and raw, and we're going to be talking about substance abuse. So, if you know somebody, if you're dealing with it, hey, this is the conversation you want to be in. I have my co-host Halo Divine. She's going to be bringing down all the knowledge and everything about it, and then we're going to be dialoguing back and forth, and hopefully that will be able to help you on tonight. How you doing, Halo?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I
All
was,
right.
yeah, go ahead, girl. Go ahead
Yeah,
and get it started with what we were
let's,
talking about, and
let's get right
some of
into
the
this.
some of the research and studies that you were doing over the week to present this to us.
Okay, so this is what I found on the internet. So it says substance use disorder, also known as SUD, is a complex condition in which there is uncontrolled use of a substance despite harmful consequences. People with SUD have an intense focus on using a certain substance or substances, such as alcohol, tobacco, or illicit drugs, to the point of where their person's ability to function in day to day becomes impaired. People keep using substances even when they are know it is causing them problems or will cause them problems. The most
Right.
severe SUDs are sometimes called addictions. People with substance abuse disorder have distorted thinking and behaviors, changes in the brain structure and function are what cause people to have intense cravings, changes in personality, abnormal movements, or other behaviors. Brain imaging studies show
Uh-huh.
changes in the areas of the brain that relate to judgment, decision making, behavioral control, and memory and learning. And so, some of the most common ones that people talk about for substance abuse disorder are alcohol, marijuana, PCP, LSD, and other hallucinogens, inhalants such as paint thinners and glue, opioid painkillers such as codeine, oxycodone, and heroin, sedatives, hypnotics, and tranquilizers like you know how to pronounce the word, so I'm gonna spell it out. Anxiolytic. I think it's
Okay.
pronounced as analytics. Um, anxiolytics. I don't know. Anyway, cocaine, methamphetamine, also known as meth, and other stimulants, and lastly, tobacco, which is not commonly known as a substance use disorder, but it is one. So yeah, that's the information we have for you today as far as the reading. And then we're going to jump right into a little discussion about it and just see where we go.
Okay. Okay. So you know what, and addictions come in a lot of forms. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of forms. And I do know that addictions, it could be very disturbing to the person, disturbing to the family, and disturbing to your soul. You know what I'm saying? Because of the struggle that you face. Um, we were talking earlier. I believe you were talking about how sometimes where these addictions, how they could really affect you. Can you kind of go into detail with that?
Yeah, so they can affect you in ways like learning when you have impaired memory and things like that. They can have behavioral control when you always feel like you have to waste money on these things. And
Right.
you always borrowing money from people, you're in debt. Poor judgment and decision making. That
Uh-huh.
has more to do with like gambling and things like that. When you're always
Right.
trying to get for this stuff, or like when you ever heard like somebody like selling their kid for some drugs or something like that? Like that is a horrible thing to do, and that's a big point that people don't really talk about
That's
very much.
Yeah, let's stop right there. I'm glad that that caught my attention because I was over here telling people to come in and check out the show. No lie, I witnessed that.
Mm.
I witnessed something like that, and it's the most horrific thing that you can possibly see. When number one, when that parent is so strung out to
Right.
the point to where they are literally willing to sacrifice their child for that drug. So that should tell you already, like, what effect it could have on a family, it could have on a person's soul. Because if your mind can take you that far where you're getting ready to sell your baby just for a hit, to only last you a good maybe 30 minutes, and then you need to get another hit, what else are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It
I
doesn't
hate to say this,
discriminate.
but they always make jokes, oh, he was doing this for money, and they make jokes about it, but that's real life.
Right. That's real. No,
People
like
really be
that's
out
really
there,
what. Right.
having sex
Like,
for drugs and stuff.
yeah, they do. And you know what? It's sad. It's sad that this actually, when you see stuff like that and you see families going through it and you see, how it could be destroying. And then, not only that, how about like, when you're trying to help them, you know what I'm saying? Um,
You lose
that's
relationship.
even difficult because, you want to have hope, but sometimes those addictions take so much, uh, a hold on that person to where they can't see anything but that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a work in progress. I've also seen people who have came out, but you know what, they may have been doing it for, I don't know, let me get high school, and then they get all the way in, they're about 45 years old, and they, from that time until 45, they were addicted, and then from 45 on until like into their 60s, now they're living a life that before it was just nothing but that addiction.
Yeah, and
That
you can
addiction becomes
count
your life.
some of that coming out to like AA and NA and places like that where you have a
Mhm.
support system and people really
It's definitely have a
know
support
what you're
system, but
going
you know what
through.
it deals, but you know what it comes down to? Do you know what it comes down to? It comes down to the health, what your mental health
In the
is.
mind.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times people they self try to medicate themselves so they don't, so they're numb, they don't want to have to feel, they don't want to have to think about it. Anything for me to not have to face whatever I'm going through.
Exactly.
And then what happens is you might have done it one time, you might have done it, and all of a sudden, you know what? Wait, you have an addictive personality that you didn't even know you had an
Exactly.
addictive personality. So now and now you thought you're over here just trying something and not knowing that you have an addictive personality. And so now you're doing this, and all of a sudden now you're hooked more than Jojo down the street. He did it one time and he was able to go home and go back to chewing his gum again. Because you had
No.
an addictive personality, you know what I'm saying? People who have addictive personalities, you got to be very careful of what you do.
So I want to say two things about the addictive personality thing and the chewing gum. I'm
Yes,
gonna start with the chewing gum because it's short. Um, Chewing
go
gum can
ahead.
be something that you know is a substitute
Mm-hmm.
for these addiction things. Because as we mentioned earlier, when we were just talking before we got on live, a lot of
Yeah.
this stuff is oral fixated. Now, before we get into that, I want to go
Yeah.
back. I want to go back to the addictive personality thing because I used to have an addictive personality and I kind of still
Right.
do. I mean, of course I still do. It doesn't really go away. But anyway, so it's a
Uh-huh.
personality trait. I mean, you can cope with it, but it just is what it
Right.
is. And so I've had my share of vices, but tobacco is something that when I was in college, went back in 2011 and 12, I picked
Uh-huh.
up cigarette smoking a little bit for a couple months, but I
Right.
just one day I was like, why am I wasting my money on this? And I stopped immediately and it was fine. Never
Right.
smoked again. I might have went back one more time. I don't really remember the whole thing, but I stopped smoking. But
Uh-huh.
I've been on these vapes now for about a year and they are not going anywhere. So
So yeah.
so that addictive personality thing has come back out and it's shown full force in these vapes. And the crazy thing is, vapes are what, 5% tobacco, and cigarettes are God
3%.
knows how
No,
many
actually, well,
percentage
it
of
just depends. I
tobacco.
think they have. I think I thought it was 3%.
Well, yeah, some are three, some are five. The one I have now
Okay.
is probably
Yeah.
three, but just I don't know.
Yeah. But
They're just a
and
small amount is what I'm saying. And then like
right.
versus a
And so,
cigarette, which I got off of immediately. So I don't know
are you
how I did
wanting?
that.
Are you wanting to? Because we were talking about oral fixation, and that's something that that you're dealing with now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what is the? I guess because have you tried to not
Oh,
have?
substituting
Yeah,
for
substitute.
something else. I've
Have you tried to
tried the
substitute?
gum.
Uh-huh. How's
It
that working?
helps. It helps, but it's not like a cure all. And then as soon as I find myself feeling better, I gotta get around somebody who's vaping. I'm like, let me hit it. And
Right,
then here
right,
I am
right.
again.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's peer pressure, sort of.
Your willpower It's really a willpower. And you know, I'm going to tell you what it is. And I can probably guarantee what I can tell you what you're doing. The minute you get around it, you start tasting it in your mouth.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
you start getting the fixation of your saliva glands moving.
Mhm.
Okay.
That
So
makes sense.
I'm just speaking medically of what happens, because okay. So then all of a sudden it triggers that feeling that you now your willpower has to get a lot stronger to when you are around it, no matter if you smell it, because that's another thing that draws you to it, the scent. And then that's the other thing that then you start having the taste where you can actually taste it. So when you get to
Mhm.
the point to where you get more of a willpower to say, you know what, I can be around it now and not even get those symptoms. Those, you still have symptoms in you. So those
Mm.
symptoms, when you know, if you having it, it makes it a lot harder because it's there. It's just it's not completely out of you, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I think I'm gonna have to distance myself, or like tell
Mhm.
people like you can't have that in my house or around me, or stay away from
That's
it
what it is. That's what
until
it is.
I'm like a couple months in, and then I can just be like, what is that stank smell, and not even want
Right.
it. You
And
know
you
what I'm
have to
saying?
be honest with yourself. We got to be honest with yourself. Let me tell you something. No lie. I don't be bringing no snacks in. You know why? Because you know what? I like to snack. I like, my ice cream. I like all that. Oh my goodness. And if it's sitting in that refrigerator, I'm gonna be dogging it out. Literally.
Right.
So I don't bring it in.
Right.
I don't bring
Right.
it in. I mean, I have to make it inconvenient for me. So if I really want an ice cream, that means that I don't feel like going leaving the house for it, or I don't want to stop and get it. So it doesn't happen very often, but when I do, I'll go ahead and have it, and then I'll be gone.
Mhm.
But I had to stop. You know,
Yeah.
it was
And
the
it was the
sugar.
same
It's
thing
sugar.
for
It's the same
weed
thing as
too.
sugar. Think about the sugar. Sugar's not good
Yeah.
for us. Not like
And I
that.
don't know
No.
why that wasn't on the list, because sugar is another
Sugar,
substance
sugar,
abuse,
it should have been on
because
the
that's
list.
where obesity comes from. You can't stop eating. Substance abuse.
Right. Isn't no. These what you're talking about is you're talking the truth about how what the effects it does to the body.
Right, it's chemical, yeah.
Right. What's the effect? Some people, it makes them more hyper than what they already are. That's an addiction. I mean, those are the
Mhm.
addictions. Like, when we drinking, high sugar drinks, and we have to have one just so we can have a caffeine kick, or we can, feel like we got to
Mhm.
get energy. It's no different. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The addiction is addiction. Some come in
It
higher
really
doses.
is. Coffee,
Some come
coffee
in
should have
higher
been on
doses,
there.
and it all has to do with the mind. Some people just don't want to take that addiction to a whole nother higher level, and some will just stay within
Mhm.
that. But if we're gonna be, we shouldn't be doing all that. But I had to get rid of that. We me eating that every. Let me tell you something. This is the truth. Now, I would go to Cold Stone, and I would get the founder's favorite. Love it,
That's my
and I would get the big
favorite.
one. Girl, I would get the
Yeah.
big one, and I would sit there and eat it, and then I would save it to the next day. Here I'm working out every day, and here I'm over here doing. What am I doing? I'm working against what I'm trying to do. That didn't even make no sense.
Interactive.
Finally, I was like, you know what? I got to get
Mhm.
rid of this. This is not good for me. I know it's not good for me. Literally, I know it's not good. And I said, you know what? I got to get it out of the house. I can't even have it here, so I don't bring it in the house.
You can't.
Literally, I don't
Yeah.
bring it in the house. I can't. I
But the
can't.
crazy thing is, like, there's been so many times where I've taken these vapes and thrown them away,
Right.
unfortunately, in the woods. Sorry for littering. In the trash can. Just took them out of the trash
Mm-hmm.
can, cleaned them off, kept smoking them. Can't go in the woods and get my vape. But like, as soon as I feel like they're all gone, I'm in a good space. I'm chewing my Nicorette gum or whatever. Doing feeling better. Drinking water.
Right.
This could be my new oral fixation. Probably. I think it kind of is coming into a little a little play of this candy, but no one got no calories in it, so whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so
Right.
and like just doing something else, I occupy my time reading or whatever. And not really read, but anyway, so like here comes my friend coming over to hang out with this vape, and I'm like, here we go
Right.
again. Leave
Yeah.
it with me, because I don't got one, and I'm back on it now. So
Right. I
you
get you.
know,
So yeah, that's the thing. We have to separate ourselves from the things that that we're just not strong enough at this particular time.
right?
You know what I'm saying? We just can't. We can't.
Yeah.
And just think of it. That's on it's still a big a big level, but just think of people who are even on a higher level. They like
Spending all their money. Man,
everything.
when I tell
We
you
just
my
talked about.
friend that
You
smokes
just said
weed
somebody
spends
giving their
so
baby
much
away.
money
That's bad.
on weed. Like, I can't even afford that for my rent. Like, how are you
I
spending
don't know.
hundreds of dollars,
I don't
a
know.
month? Like, just hundreds and
It
hundreds,
doesn't
and it's so much
discriminate.
money.
Right. It doesn't
Not at
discriminate.
all. And that's not that. I
That's
mean,
sad.
vapes aren't that expensive, but like weed's a little more expensive. But then you got stuff like, PCP. I don't know how much this stuff costs, but alcohol is pretty expensive. People can go through alcohol quick. Cocaine, that's probably expensive. I don't know. All that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like, just who knows how much
It's about
money you're
making money. They're gonna make
spending.
money. They're
And
gonna
then
make
you
money.
losing your house, and you're losing, you
That's what
can't
I'm
pay for your car
saying. Think
no
about
months,
it.
driving around without
Right.
insurance, you can't pay your insurance, then you're in jail.
Halo,
This is
you're telling the
life
truth.
altering, and you
Listen, you're
can't
telling
stop.
the truth. What positivity comes out of it?
Nothing except for
Everything
that
you
little
named is
high for
what?
like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
you're the walking dead. You're the walking
Mm-hmm.
dead.
For real.
I hate to see, honestly, it really bothers my soul to see my my people like that. I'm gonna give you an example. I used to go into the juvenile detention
Uh-huh.
and mentor, and them kids, them young girls in there, some of them would be 9 years old in there, and then like 16, 17, is what the age. And you go in there and you're talking to them. They grew up in a household where there's substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Majority
Yeah.
of them, I'm not saying all of them, but there was a good percentage that they grew up in a household where there was substance abuse. And let me tell you what, the side effects that come from that, and the child has to see a parent, whatever they're doing, whatever's going on. I mean, it's scary.
You
And then
suffer in school.
they become
You
offenders.
suffer,
Yeah, and then they become offenders. They're angry.
emotionally with your friendships. Oh yeah, they're angry. They're mad as ever because they
They're
don't understand
mad.
what's going on. They're young. All they know is mom's upset, angry, strung out, and her emotions everywhere, or his emotions everywhere, or now she got me running to the store for this, or to making me leave the house for that. So
Yeah.
make sure don't come out of your room or during this time. Put me to bed early for that. It's
Yeah,
like,
it is.
yeah.
And that's childhood
And
trauma.
I
So,
can't get no gifts.
right, none of that. Think about the child, and it's
I can't join the soccer team because you can't afford it, because
nothing.
we can't, because you ain't got no extra money because you didn't spend it all on cocaine or whatever,
Girl, it's
or
sad,
or some
and it's
PCP
real.
or some
It's
alcohol or whatever.
real. It's real.
Yeah,
It's real. And not only
yeah.
that, it would be like you said, some of just it's mentally abusive. And it's the
Mm-hmm.
grace of God that some people make it out of situations like that and really make something of their life. That means
Yeah,
they really had to fight. It was
right.
a
They had to
struggle.
fight.
They had to
Mm-hmm.
fight for you to have some normalcy up here and keep going, because
Mm-hmm.
that's always going to be there. That's not going anywhere. That's not you can't unsee that stuff.
And it's trauma, and a lot of people pass that on to their kids. When you see it
Yes.
and they see it, they end up doing the same thing. It's like a generational curse, they call
It's
it. Like,
speak about it, Halo. It's a generational curse. That's what happens. This is how these generational curses come. Because what happens is mama daddy did it, then then they mommy daddy did it, and then they mommy daddy did it, and before you know it, you're bringing on all these curses that are passed, generational curses that are passing down. But it has to be a point in people's lives that we have to be like awakened to that. Like,
yeah,
why am I
accountable.
self-destructing myself? Like, if I'm doing anything negative to myself, what does that say? Like, it's one thing getting it from somebody else not treating me right, but dang it, I need to treat myself right. I need to come first. God
Yeah.
first, definitely God first. You know what I'm saying?
And
Definitely God first. And then you know what? Hey, I got to be like, this has to be solid, because if I'm not solid, I can't be solid nowhere else.
mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. Like, I'm always talking about mental health, mental strength. That's mental strength. People got broke. They broken.
Mm-hmm.
Literally broken.
Mm-hmm.
Broken. Nobody cared
Exactly.
enough to see these people are broken. There's a root cause for it. People always say, oh, they just over here strung out. Why? Why?
Yeah.
They didn't come out the womb saying I'm gonna be strung out. So why? What
Some
happened?
of them did. Some of them came out crank babies.
That's true. I didn't think you're right. correction. You're right. And that's another thing. Could you imagine coming into this world as a baby, having to fight with the pains and the side effects that you did, you just a child. You know what I'm saying? That baby make it through and fight. That baby was fighting from the womb all the way out, then fighting to live past that until they get them out of the addiction. It's sad. It's really, really sad, but it needs to stop. You know what I'm saying? It needs to stop because that's not, and people don't even realize that this, pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical drugs.
Does the same thing.
People teeth rotting out, from all the harshness of the chemicals, people's organs being damaged because of it. And then you got people who, they get them on those pain pills and they're addicted to them. Before you know it, they become a compulsive pain seekers is what we would call them. You knew when they were coming, they would go to, they knew every emergency room, doggone it, in their city, and they gonna go in there. And my goodness, I got a pain level of 10. They're pain seekers.
But if we can go back for a second, I've been thinking about that a lot. The whole like addictive portion of like how I'm on medication now, and if I want to have kids, it's going to be in their system. It makes me not even want to have kids. And they say, oh, well, if you take this one, it's not going to affect them. But it's like, well, how is it affecting me? But it ain't going to affect them. Like, it don't make no sense. Like, we have the same chemical patterns. And, whatever I eat, they going to eat. So I don't know what that all means.
And you know what, though, Halo, at the end of the day, if the Most High God wills you to have a child, literally, he's going to take care of you and he's going to take care of that child. Just know that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to believe.
Off my medication for like the last 2 trimesters of my pregnancy, but then that means I got to get back on it when it's time for the baby, and then you got to worry about all the side effects. And people already said, "Oh, you crazy? You can't be raising no baby." So it's like,
right,
I can't be off my medication trying to raise a child or like trying
to. You have to be on
your.
You're definitely right. You have to be on your medications and stuff. You really, really do. You have to be on it for so you can be healthy. Because your health comes first at the end of the day. Just think about it. Think about what you just told me, right? You told me about how women over there selling their babies for the drug, right? Okay. What you're saying is that I have to be healthy because my health comes first. If I'm not healthy, I can't raise a baby. And being unhealthy. You feel what I'm saying? Where the flip side is they're unhealthy and they're raising a child, and you see what the side effects are.
That's true.
It's not good. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing selfish about that. It's saying, you know what, my life comes first, and I have to make sure I'm healthy. Like definitely, so and you're going a good way about it because your health. You didn't came so far. And you don't like to look back, but just think. If you just think of everything that you've gone through and accomplished, and you haven't stopped. You may feel like you stopped. At times we feel like we stopped because we're not progressing like we would really want to progress. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we're more south of, like you could do better.
Right.
But you're at a good place. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't feel like we're always at the great place, but as long as we keep striving and pushing, like you are today, because you're on this show to tell the truth. True. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, you're here to tell it uncut, like the truth of the struggles that you're struggling with. That comes with everything that you deal with. And your diagnosis, you know what
I mean, there have been times when I felt like I didn't stop. I felt like I crashed, quit, like, like came to a halt, boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like
long ways, like literally,
you gotta keep picking yourself back up over and over and over. It's such a struggle, but if I don't do it for myself, then ain't nobody else gonna do it for me. I ain't gonna get no help,
Right, and let me tell you what. There was a last Wednesday on my Uniquely Gorgeous show, no lie. I said, when God is getting the glory, when you don't have, like, you're really fighting, you know what I'm saying? And you're doing this on your own, like literally. And then you come out like have no scars. You know what I'm saying? You don't look like you've been burned,
Right.
in the
Still have
fire.
that youthful glow.
Right. And you know what? Let me tell you what. That's how God gets the glory. Because when everybody else looked at it, they looked at it from a different perspective. You see what I'm saying? And when somebody's not living your walk and your journey, it's hard for them to really get the full effect of what it is to be you. You know what I'm saying? We only have a perception of what we think. That's the difference when what you're living with, who you are, and what you're dealing with. That's a whole different walk. And sometimes if you was to put them inside of your body and let them see what you're dealing with, they would have a lot more respect and have a lot more understanding. Like, you know what? I'm a fighter. I don't know if you'll be able to fight this battle. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. God don't put nothing on us that we can't handle. And
That's
some
true.
people, what they're handling are a lot harder than the next one. So what does that tell you about you?
Yeah.
You're stronger than most. You're stronger than most. And when you start really seeing that I'm stronger than most, like literally that's when I mean you're stronger than most, you're stronger than your most because you have gifts. Wonderful gifts. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of people probably don't even know that you have.
Yeah. Real quick, let's get into the oral fixation part of it, because there's some things I wanted to say about it.
Go girl.
Let's go back to it real quick, because we're gonna run out of time and then I'll be upset. So we were talking about oral fixation earlier and how like a lot of these substance abuses, two things I want to talk about. Anyway, so substance abuses are oral fixated, and I know they come with like this addictive personality and like all these things that kind of play into it.
Right.
And I remember when I was and I know mine has to do with oral fixation because when I was younger, remember we talked about this on one of the other shows. When I had trichotillomania, that was an oral fixation OCD disorder, and that a lot of these disorders are like dual diagnosis. So I had everything, it seemed like. Anyway, so when I had the OCD, I also had trichotillomania, right? Okay. So then I had the anxiety, and then I had the schizoaffective coming on, and that actually might have been a blessing in disguise of why I stopped pulling my hair out, because it changed from OCD to from anxiety to like schizoaffective or whatever. So I didn't like everything changed. But I just, oh Lord, I forgot where I was going with this. Point is,
well, yeah, it did change.
Find help. Go to rehab. You know, go to NA and MA. I mean NA and AA. You know what I'm saying? Go when you go to rehab, like take some time off work, or if you're not working, just go in there. I know it's probably expensive, but the insurance, but what is your life worth? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like if somebody just told me that the other day, like, I was getting a shot and they were like, well, I was like, the only thing that's bugging me is the expense that I have to pay, and they're like, well, what is your health worth? Is it worth this $80? Which ain't that expensive. But I was like, right. I'm like, is it, or would you rather be sick somewhere back in a hospital? And I'm like, no, I ain't going back to the hospital. So, I stopped complaining about it or whatever, and I was just grateful again. It's like, right, I be going to the hospital and them things, and this is called a rehabilitation facility. Is what they call them. And they really will bill you like $2,400 out of pocket.
Yeah, they right.
You right about you don't pay it. Right. And it's like that's a lot of money, but you can pay the increments or don't pay it all like me. No, I'm just when I gotta pay it eventually.
I know.
Anyway,
but your house comes.
The point is, you'll go there, you'll get you'll get the training that you need to get off of it. You won't have access to it. You know what I'm saying? You'll come out clean. You'll start a new life, and you'll be happy again. And it'll all be worth it. Music is one of the things that they use in there. Art's one of the things. Reading, family and friends. Peer support, all kind of stuff they have in there, and it's like all used to help you. And I know we don't have a lot of time left, but we were talking about.
And then also too, Halo. Also too, hey. Send people to purified drinking water, because this is a place as well.
Exactly. And this is an outlet. We are right here trying to help y'all. Trying to help y'all get through whatever y'all going through, you know.
Right. We're here to talk. Like, we're here to talk. And,
Let it out. And if you ever want to be on the show, reach out, you know, get in the
there you
comments.
go.
Go
Definitely.
to Facebook, send a message.
We're here to help you. Literally.
Sacred Healing MBS. You know?
Yes.
Something you want to say?
Well, you know what? Our time is up. And we appreciated it. The conversation was good. It was, the truth. It needed to be told. Come back to us, not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. We do every other Sunday at 6:00. Remember, every other Sunday. But we appreciate y'all. We appreciate your support. We're here for you. If there's any questions, hey, we can answer them. We got it. Hey, we got it. We got it.
Right. Thank you guys so much.
Bye-bye. Love you all. Take care. We're going to end this broadcast.
All right.
All right.